Hello everybody, welcome back to a Fly Guy video. Hopefully you all are doing well. Today we are here in the Toliss A340. I'm going to be showing you guys a detailed cold and dark startup tutorial for this aircraft. Although it does look quite similar to the A320 series that many of you may be familiar with, there are a couple features that are going to change your flight experience that I figured you all should know about. So today I'm going to be flying from Montreal to Miami. I'm going to be teaching you guys the startup procedure for the Toliss A340. Let's begin. So we're sitting here in the cockpit. We're in a cold and dark state. As you can see, nothing's turned on. What we're going to do is switch to our overhead panel. Now, as you can see, we have these two green lights. What we're going to do, first of all, is head up over here to our battery switches and our APU battery switch. We're going to enable battery 1, battery 2, and our APU battery. This gives a basic power to the aircraft, and a few of the screens will turn on. You'll hear a little ding. That's perfectly normal. Next, we're going to connect external power. If you do not have external power, you can start up the APU by clicking the master switch and then the start switch, and it shall eventually start up the aircraft for you. Today we are using external power for the initial phase of the startup, so we're going to turn on external A and external B. Now the aircraft is fully powered. You can see it's going to say self-test in progress. That will disappear. Everything is normal, and our aircraft is starting up. So the next step, we're going to turn on our emergency exit light. It's going to go to the arm position. As you can see, it's going to be the center position right there. So bring it up to arm. We'll turn on our no smoking signs and our nav and logo sign. What I like to do is I'd like to start up the APU right away. So we're going to turn on the master switch, the bleed switch. That will not work until the APU is properly started. We can then click the start switch. So you have to wait about 3 seconds after initially clicking the master switch to use the start switch. In the meantime, we're going to go up to our IRS switches. It's going to be all the way up top. So you got to look way far back, and you'll see these 3 switches, all 3 of them, get shifted to the nav position, the center position. You'll see it says on bat. Those fault lights should disappear, and the on bat light should disappear after about 5 seconds or so. And what have I just done? Whoops, sorry about that. So now we're back in our cockpit. You can see we fired our screens up. It says IRS align in a little over 7 minutes. That's perfectly fine. Our APU will be firing up shortly. So what we're going to do now is we are going to go ahead and look at our SimBrief flight plan. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring over our SimBrief flight plan so you guys can see. Today we're flying as Air Canada 2144 from Montreal to Miami. We're going to look at our weights here, and we're going to utilize those to load our aircraft. So I'm going to bring that back over to my second monitor here. Just a moment, please. And what we're going to do firstly is open up our Toliss ISCS screen. Click to Loading Performance. So, on your SimBrief Operational Flight Plan briefing, you're going to see a block fuel total. That's the amount of fuel you want to load your aircraft with. We're using the unit of pounds. You can easily change that to kilograms using the general AC config settings. And right here it says use imperial units. If you want to use kilograms, go to no. I like your imperial units, so I'm going to switch to yes for this one. So we need 70,000 pounds of fuel. So we're going to drag that slider up till we get to around 70, right? Not quite. Close enough. Right there. And our zero fuel weight, that's also right there. It should be just under your alternate destination slider on your SimBrief Operational Flight Plan. It says we need a target of zero fuel weight of 478,872 pounds. So we're going to adjust that slider to meet that value. Bring that down to 478,49878.9. Good. Now, let's keep our passenger number in mind. 225 for our initial startup page. So we're going to go down to our flight management computer here. You'll initially see it on this screen. You're going to click the init button. Now, you're going to enter your ICAO details. We're going to be departing from Charlie Yankee Uniform Lima. Now, between that, you're going to put a slash and then your destination ICAO code, which is going to be Kilo Mike India Alpha. Perfect. Flight number, as we stated earlier, is going to be Air Canada 2144. Now, our passenger number, this is where I said it become important. We have 225 people on board today, so we're going to put that on there. Cost index. That's in our flight plan. We're going to be using 22. If you just want a basic cost index, and if you guys can't find your cost index, use a cost index of 50. However, on our flight plan here, the the cost index is right on the operational flight plan. So we have the initial information up here. If you scroll down below the map, you'll find your cost index right there. So cost index of 22, we're cruising at 40,000 feet, flight level 400. Excuse my stutter there. Now we're going to go back to our ISCS screen to get this information. We have a 0 fuel weight of 478.9. So we're back to our ISCS screen here. 0 fuel weight of 478.9 and a 0 fuel weight CG of 22.9. So 478.9, excuse me, 478.9 slash CG of 22.9. We're going to input that right there. Block fuel, we stated earlier, was around 70,000 pounds. So we're going to go 70.0. That'll input. Perfect. We have all green values here. That's something I like to see. From Montreal, our departure today looks like it's going to be runway 06 right. And we're not taking any departure procedure today. Your flight plan will indicate if you're taking the departure procedure. Today we're going direct to Fawns. From Fawns, we're going direct Bugsy. From Bugsy, we're going direct Nippy. From Nippy, we're going to go direct Stomp. And by the way, I will be releasing a detailed flight plan tutorial at a later date. So if you guys are still a little confused on how to get your waypoints and use SimBrief, I will be releasing a tutorial for that within the next few weeks. So not to worry. Then direct Towen. Direct Agard. Direct CVI, VOR. Now we're going to enter an airway. We're going to left click on the waypoint, right click on airways, and now our airway is going to be Juliet 193. We're taking that to the waypoint Weaver. From Weaver, we're going direct Spiky. That's where I misread. From Spiky, direct Jenks. Direct Hogue, H-O-A-G-G. And now we're going to use our arrival procedure, which according to SimBrief is going to be the Selfish 1 arrival. We're going to utilize runway 09, Selfish 1. Which is not in there. We're going to be using the Scott 5 arrival, but it should be the Selfish 1. That might be a nav data issue on my part. Perfect. We're going to leave that discon in there. Actually, I'm going to clear that discon. So yeah, what you want to do is you want to clear all your discons whenever you get the chance, because those are going to mess up your flight plan. Unless if there's a manual of a flight plan discontinuity, leave it, because that's going to be a vector for your final approach. I'll also be releasing a tutorial on how to vector yourself for a final approach at a later date. If you're using VATSIM, ATC will give you vectors. So now we're going to move to a performance page. This is where there's a slight difference. So you guys, for those of you who have flown the A320 series before, are used to using a flap 1 or flap 2 departure. Standard flap for the Airbus A340 is actually going to be a flap 3. So in this case, we're going to use a flap 3 departure. V1 of 150, VR of 150, and V2 of 155, effective temp of 46. So we're going to input those values, 150 for V1, 150 for VR, and 155 for our V2 speed. Now, it's also important to input your trim. So our trim value is right here next to our CG. It says up 3.4. So we're going to put our flap in, flap 3, slash our trim, which is up 3.4. And we stated a flex temp of 46. On the Airbus A320, you would usually put a flex temp of 46. However, that does not work. That is because in the A340, you need to put F preceding your flex temp. So that's going to be F46. and now your flex step will enter for departure. So that, my friends, is how you set up the FMC. Now, a few more things I want to state before we end the video today is your taxi camera. So to get your taxi camera to work, you have to turn on your runway turn-off lights. That's what I found to work. So you will also need, I'm going to test it without runway turn-off lights. It's been an on and off thing for me. But to get your taxi camera to work, which is a question many of you have had. So you have your speed brake lever, and then you have these three switches, mysterious switches. These are your camera switches. So the left switch enables the taxi camera for the primary flight display. If you don't want it there, you could turn it off and use the center switch, which gives it on the lower ECAM. If you don't want it there either, you could put it on the first officer side if you want to fly on the first officer side, and it'll be on the first officer's PFD. Or you could even do all three if you just want to be special. So that's your taxi camera. Next, I do want to just quickly do one more quick review of the overhead panel. This, for those of you who fly the A320, this is not relevant. You're not going to need this unless you have a failure. I would not recommend flying this aircraft with failures until a few weeks after you get used to it. This is also not going to be necessary. The fuel pumps automatically come on if they are not already on. Excuse me. To get them to turn on, you're going to have a bunch of white lights that say off. Every single switch up here that does appear with a white light saying off, simply click it. That's all you have to do. And your fuel pumps will be activated. We are now connected to APU power. We will know that because there is an avail lettering under the start switch. So that means that there is both APU bleed air being supplied to the cabin. That's going to give us airflow, such as air conditioning, etc. As well as power to the aircraft when we don't have external power. So we can now disconnect our external power by clicking those two switches that we turned on earlier. You're now ready for push and start. So like I said, this is not a full tutorial. This is just simply a how to adjust to the A340. For those of you that have flown the A320, I do have an A320 tutorial that is nearly done being edited and ready to release. So for those of you guys that are completely new to Airbus and have not even touched an Airbus cockpit yet, not to worry because I have one of those coming soon. Thank you all so much for watching today. We're going to be live on Saturday, October 30th. For a Cross the Pond live stream. Please join the Discord server for information on that, as well as information on my future uploads. A Discord link will be posted in the pinned comment. Thank you all so much for watching. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button, and I'll see you all very soon.